Breaking news, Raider Nation, things are getting serious in Las Vegas. 3 interceptions, a costly fumble, and even a blocked field goal, that's the painful recipe that dropped the Raiders to 1-3 on the season. And the worst part? It completely wasted another monster performance from Maxx Crosby, along with flashes of brilliance from Ashton Jeanty. But that's not all, injuries are piling up too. Key players went down, and the outlook could get even tougher moving forward. High voltage. Before we dive into the latest breaking updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the biggest Raiders news. Let's move straight into it. The Raiders fell in heartbreaking fashion, 25-24, against the Chicago Bears, a game they needed to win, and one they should have won. From turnovers to questionable play at quarterback, big concerns are starting to surround this team. And now, the injuries to Kolton Miller and Eric Stokes add another layer of worry for the Silver and Black. Stay locked in, because what I'm about to tell you could change how Raider Nation looks at this season. The numbers don't lie, and for the Raiders, they're painful to look at. Quarterback Geno Smith went 14 of 21 for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 3 interceptions changed everything. That now makes 7 interceptions this season, 6 of them coming inside Allegiant Stadium. For a team fighting to stay alive, mistakes like that are crushing. And that's the tragedy here, because while turnovers kept putting Las Vegas in a hole, Ashton Jeanty finally gave Raider Nation the breakout performance they'd been waiting for. 21 carries, 138 yards, plus 2 receiving touchdowns and a highlight reel 64-yard run to the house. Jeanty looked unstoppable. In fact, the Raiders as a whole dominated on the ground, piling up 240 rushing yards as a team. Raheem Mostert added another 62 on just 4 carries, and even Smith picked up yards with his legs. On paper, it looked like a game Las Vegas should have owned from start to finish. Jeanty's performance was more than just big, it was historic. He passed Darren McFadden for the second most rushing yards by a Raiders rookie through 4 games, trailing only Josh Jacobs. He also joined legends like Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen by scoring 3 or more touchdowns in a single game as a rookie. That's rare company. And yet, despite all of that history, despite a performance Raider Nation will remember for years, the only number that mattered was the final score, Bears 25, Raiders 24. A win that slipped through their fingers, and a loss that makes Jeanty's breakout bittersweet. After the game, Ashton Jeanty stood in the locker room, calm but honest. He admitted the turnovers changed everything, and he put the responsibility on himself. Still, his words carried the mindset of a fighter, next play mentality. For him, mistakes happen in football, but what matters is how you respond. And that's exactly how he played, refusing to let an early fumble define his night. But Jeanty wasn't the only Raider who delivered a massive performance. On defense, Maxx Crosby looked like a man possessed. From the opening snap, he dominated Chicago's offensive line, 3 tackles for loss, 3 passes defended, an interception, and constant pressure that kept Caleb Williams uncomfortable all game long. It was the type of performance Raider Nation has been begging to see, a defensive takeover. In fact, Crosby joined rare NFL company, becoming just one of 9 defensive linemen since 2000 to record multiple games with 3 or more passes defended. That's unheard of for a player at his position. Yet despite the numbers, despite the highlight plays, the result remained the same, another crushing loss. Crosby himself said it best afterward, individual stats mean nothing without a win. He doesn't care about last year or about personal records. He cares about victories. And on Sunday, the Raiders let one slip away that could have changed the direction of their season. 1-3 feels worlds apart from 2-2. And inside that locker room, everyone knew it. One of the bright spots for the Raiders on Sunday was the return of rookie guard Jackson Powers Johnson. After missing 2 games, he stepped back onto the field with energy and attitude, and Raider Nation noticed. On Geno Smith's first interception, it looked like the Bears had an easy pick 6. But JPJ refused to let it happen. He squared up, drove the defender into the ground, and saved the Raiders from giving up a touchdown. That kind of effort doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it set the tone for how he played the rest of the game: tough, physical, and relentless. Even though Geno's 3 interceptions turned into 13 points for Chicago, Powers Johnson did everything he could to limit the damage. Every snap, he looked like a man on a mission, bringing a nastiness to the offensive line that Raider Nation has been waiting to see. The challenge now is consistency. If JPJ can keep playing at that level, he could be the spark that helps solidify this line, especially with Kolton Miller sidelined by injury. Miller's absence could become a major issue moving forward, but for one afternoon, the offensive line wasn't the Raiders' biggest problem. That title belonged to the quarterback. 3 interceptions. Costly mistakes. Missed opportunities. For all the fight the Raiders showed up front, the turnovers told the real story of the game. Raider Nation, here's the truth: the biggest problem staring this team in the face right now is quarterback play. Last week, the offensive line was the elephant in the room. They gave up 5 sacks, and Geno Smith barely had a chance to breathe. But against the Bears, the line held up better. The issue wasn't protection, it was Geno himself. Through 4 games, Geno now has more interceptions than touchdowns. 7 picks to only 6 scores. And 6 of those interceptions have come inside Allegiant Stadium. Home field advantage means nothing if your quarterback keeps handing the ball to the other team. Think about it: in back-to-back home games, Geno has thrown 3 interceptions each time. That's not a bad night, that's a pattern. And patterns in the NFL quickly become identities. Right now, Geno's identity is a quarterback who can't protect the football. Of course, there's been talk about Kenny Pickett. Could the Raiders turn to him? Realistically, he's not the savior. Pickett has bounced around the league for a reason, and if he were the answer, he wouldn't already be on his 4th team. Still, Geno has to change the narrative, fast. Raider Nation expected him to take this offense forward, to push touchdowns into the 30s and keep interceptions in the single digits. Instead, we're watching the opposite. The Raiders need their quarterback to rise, because right now, his play is dragging this team down. And if things don't change soon, tough conversations about the future of this position are going to start happening, whether the coaches want them or not. Raider Nation, here's the hard truth: the Raiders still don't have their franchise quarterback. Sunday's game was the perfect chance to steal a win. The Bears practically gift-wrapped it, but Geno Smith gave it right back. At this point, his mistakes aren't just bad nights, they're a trend. He now has more interceptions than touchdowns, and the league is starting to catch on to his tendencies. Watch closely and you'll see it: he stares down his receivers. On crucial downs, defenses already know the ball is going to Jakobi Meyers. That predictability lets corners jump routes, and it nearly cost the Raiders again on that final drive. If defenses can see what's coming, how can this offense grow? This is the bigger issue: every time Geno drops back, you can feel the nervous energy in the building. That's not what a steady quarterback brings, that's what an uncertain one does. And when the quarterback can't be trusted, the playbook shrinks. The coaches can't call the game they want to call. Yes, Ashton Jeanty has been a bright spot. Yes, Crosby continues to fight like a warrior. But the Raiders can't lean on the run game forever. In the modern NFL, you need balance. You need a quarterback who can spread the field, protect the ball, and win games with his arm. On Sunday, it was painfully obvious, Geno didn't give them that chance. For stretches, he was completing more passes to the opposing defense than to his own receivers. That's unacceptable. He said after his first rough outing that he needed to be more efficient, but instead, the turnovers keep piling up. And here's the bottom line: until the Raiders fix the quarterback position, whether it's Geno stepping up or a long-term answer in the future, this team will keep running into the same wall. Raider Nation, here's the part that stings the most: the Raiders can't hide from the quarterback problem anymore. Geno Smith looks like 2 different players depending on where he's standing. On the road, he's thrown just 1 interception. Inside Allegiant Stadium? 6 picks at home, in front of his own crowd. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. You could see the frustration boiling over. In the locker room after the game, Geno slammed his helmet, slammed his locker, and stormed off. He's angry, and rightfully so. But anger doesn't erase turnovers. Frustration doesn't erase missed opportunities. At some point, those mistakes have to stop showing up on Sundays. And Raider Nation sees it too. Fans are already asking the hard questions. Some are saying, we need a change. Others are pointing out the obvious, this team will be paying Geno no matter what, so he has to figure it out. There's no escape hatch this season. That's the reality. Last week, the big question was the offensive line. This week, it's the quarterback. Both need to improve, but with Geno, the margin for error is shrinking fast. A franchise quarterback is supposed to inspire confidence. Right now, all he's inspiring is doubt. And here's the bottom line, this has to change, and it has to change quickly. Raider Nation can handle tough losses. What they can't handle is watching their own quarterback give the game away. Raider Nation, this one hurts. And it's not just about another loss, it's about what that loss represents. First, a moment for Bob Diaz, a true Raider since 1968. He lived and breathed silver and black through every high and every heartbreak. To his family, Raider Nation stands with you. That's what this fan base is about, loyalty that never dies. But loyalty cuts both ways. Fans pour their hearts into this team, and right now, the Raiders aren't giving that pride back. That's the message coming loud and clear. You heard it from Sucker-Free Raider, who compared the game to a great meal ruined by one bad drink. Everything was working, the defense, the run game, Maxx Crosby leading the charge, until the turnovers spoiled it all. And we know exactly who that bad drink was. Then Mason from the 937 put it plain, turnovers are killing this team. 7 interceptions in 4 games is not just a slump, it's carelessness. A quarterback's number one job is protecting the football. Instead, Geno's mistakes erased a strong defensive performance and wiped out Ashton Jeanty's big day. Raider Nation deserves better than wasted efforts. And then there's the frustration with coaching. Raider Pants said it best, the defense keeps getting hung out to dry, and the play calling is stuck in neutral. Third and short situations with the game on the line, and we run straight into the teeth of the defense. Where's the creativity? Where's the willingness to take risks that fit the Raiders' identity? Here's the truth, fans are tired of recycled excuses. Coaches come and go. Players come and go. But the results stay the same. Raider Nation has waited decades for a team that not only wears the silver and black, but plays like it. Until that happens, the frustration will only grow louder. This is the part that stings the most. Because Sunday's loss wasn't about the defense, it wasn't about the coaches, it wasn't even about the injuries. It was about one thing, turnovers. Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions, and those mistakes gave the Bears 13 points. That's the ballgame right there. The defense fought all night, Maxx Crosby had one of his best performances, Ashton Jeanty showed he belongs, but none of it mattered. When you hand the other team free possessions, you don't deserve to win. And the frustration is boiling over. Fans inside Allegiant Stadium were outnumbered by Chicago supporters, and their cheers were louder. That's embarrassing for a franchise built on pride. Raider Nation never backs down, but how can you expect fans to fill the seats when the team keeps letting them down on the field? This loss wasn't about effort. The defense held as long as they could. The offense had moments. But every time the Raiders had a chance to take control, it was ripped away by poor quarterback play. Geno was brought in to stabilize the position, but instead he's become a turnover machine. Raider Nation is already asking the question, how long do you stick with him? At what point do you say enough is enough? Because this isn't just about one loss. It's about the message it sends. Same old Raiders. That's the phrase fans are already whispering. And once it seeps into the locker room, it's poison. Maxx Crosby said it himself after the game, being close isn't good enough. Almost winning doesn't mean anything in the NFL. This team has to find a way to finish. And until the Raiders stop beating themselves, until they protect the football, until they play like a team determined to just win, baby, it's going to be the same heartbreak on repeat. The truth is simple, the Raiders had that game. They should have won it. They didn't. And Raider Nation deserves better.